Hey guys, welcome to another training. I want to take advantage of having you here today. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. And this is going to be a special Wednesday because we're going to be talking about the purpose-driven mindset. And as usual, our pre-recordings always are so amazing. And I was just sitting here talking with Julio, and we're sharing some things back and forth, but we are going to be diving into more mindset today because I realized something. When you first start in business, and this is, just for anybody aspiring or existing or scaling, whatever it is, you got to realize that we are the secret sauce. We are the source of where we start in our journey, right? Well, when I say the source, we're not the true source. God is our source, but we are where the legs start moving, right? So it has to be us. Before we pick up a tool, before we pick up automations, before we pick up anything as far as anybody's product or whatever it is, it has to be about us. Like you guys know in the hammer training that we did last year with Justin, it is always about us. And we're going to work on us and our mindset today, but the purpose driven mindset and how to leverage your gifts, your God given gifts, talents, skills, and abilities, and your purpose to be able to move your life and your business forward because God says your gift will make room for you. All right. So I wanted to continue what Julio was saying so you guys can benefit from that. So, Julio, you were sharing with us, your travels recently.
Yes, feeling so fortunate um to not to have to two things. One, I haven't punched a clock in a long time, so to ask for permission. But even when you don't punch the clock, you get punched by the clock because if you don't have your team intact or there's high demand for your attention in your business, you can't leave. If you're a dentist and you're not pulling teeth, no one's getting paid. So you got to stay.
Exactly.
Your family goes and enjoys Disneyland, you got to stay pulled the teeth, right? So
Exactly.
I feel very fortunate that after 15 years of running businesses and always being primary focused on that, right? Even when you travel, you still or when you sleep, you're still thinking about it.
Yeah.
Year, I've been able to just travel. Like this year, we've gone to Mexico 3 times and a bunch of other.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been like 6 different trips, 6 or 7,
Uh-huh.
and I've never worried about am I going to make it to work because I take work with me wherever I go.
Yeah,
Whether it was good, bad, or ugly, I was still working.
exactly.
Now, what's made this journey so two things are happening. What's made this journey a little bit extra difficult was transitioning from brick and mortar, face to face, being able to feed off of somebody's energy to talking to the camera. Now, thank you, Nick, yourself, Justin, everybody. Uh, but here I was able to connect the 14 inches, right? Boom, boom. Like it's not about having that perfect hook, having that perfect tonality. That's what I'm working on with another coach. Here it's about having the permission to connect with your heart and say the story as you feel it, whether the
Yeah.
views come or not. You'll
Yeah.
figure out how to tell it later. Like I was just telling Nick, the thing I'm doing now is I like telling my story. I just gotta find a funnier way and give myself the permission to tell it. Bam, bam, and that's it.
Yeah.
So the freedom comes from you allowing yourself to what I was gonna say, we have made this business so hard because it's quite simple, right? Automations is here, AI is here. We don't really need to think that hard. But because we one can't believe that it's that simple,
Yeah.
two, our we need a lot of external validation. And when we look
Yeah.
for that is when we stumble and fall. So listen, I'll tell you this, cover your ears. But if you ever been on a date with anybody, then you succeeded to convince another person that you're good enough. So that
Yeah.
means you're good enough.
Yeah.
Just tell your story.
And I like the things that you bring up because that even that last part where you're talking about you're good enough. That's where it starts,
Yeah.
right? So let's break this down. So the reason why we don't feel good enough is because we have that belief in ourselves, right? We have that idea that we aren't good enough. So that, believe it or not, that's where the idea of it can't be that simple, right? That's where it comes from. Because in order for us to feel like we're good enough, we have to prove that. Most of us throughout this life have been spending our life trying to prove to other people that we are worth our salt, that we're worth the concrete, that we are worth being who we want to be, being who we say we are. And we have been trying our endeavor best to prove that to people all our lives. But and this is why people believe that it can't be that simple. And everybody goes through that. Even I went through that. And at times I still continue, I still second guess, is it really that simple? Is it really that uncomplicated? Is it really that straightforward? But inherently, what that says is, I feel like I have to work harder, go through more complication for it to be worth, for me to be worthy of it. There's no way, because what have we been taught in life? We've been taught in life everything worth having comes with work, right? But especially for people who didn't grow up here in the US, right? We were taught that the hard work has to do with sweat. Am I right?
Yep.
We've been taught that hard work means sweat. Hard work means soreness. Hard work means you got to work your fingers to the bone. But I beg to submit to you that hard work is also a mental thing. And that's the work that we refuse to do because we all think that we don't have time for that, especially us men. No one has time for that. I got this to do. I got that to do. I got this person to take care of. I got that person to take care of. So we start thinking of it as it can't be that simple because it's not me sweating. It's not me breaking my neck off or breaking my back off to try to get this thing done. It's not me doing physical aggressive work in order to get the job done. It's just you thinking about certain things and then putting it on a piece of paper or putting it on the computer or whatever it is. It's just you doing these things in your brain and sitting there, and it doesn't seem like it should be that easy. It doesn't seem like it should be that simple. But get this, simple does not mean less hard, because I know people that are engineers that are sitting at a computer all day, but they're still just as drained. Why? Because it's the mental focus and the concentration and the figuring things out and figuring out complex solution, problem solving is what is the hard work, right? People like me who are disabled, who can't stand for long periods of time, who can't do traditional jobs, right? These are the things that we find ourselves doing, working more so with our minds. Like my father used to always tell me when I would get sad about not being able to play sports or to go up for this thing or go up for that thing because I didn't have the capability to do that. Like one of the things I was really, really keen on in high school was gymnastics, believe it or not.
I believe
The
it.
pole vault? You were too?
No, I believe it.
Yeah, oh, you believe it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the event with the little horse where you
Yes.
gotta go and you jump over and you do the little flip thingy. I thought that was like the coolest thing in 50, right? I thought it was the coolest thing, but I couldn't do stuff like that, right? Because I just every time I tried to do stuff like that, I would. err on the side of getting hurt and cracking my face or something worse, right? So the gym teacher was like, you know what, Nick, it's okay. You don't have to be good at that. You're super smart. Don't worry about it, right? But I would still feel hurt because why? I felt like I should be able to be doing normal things, right? Doing normal things. And back to the hard work thing is that we think because it is just us telling our story, it's just us sharing the transformation, it's just us learning how to frame certain things and say things this way versus the other, right? Because this was the challenge that I put today for day 3 of the challenge, right? Is that you are to figure out what those things are, figure out what your gifting is, figure out what your purpose is. But why do we think it has to be this hard, right? Because it's let me ask you, Julio, and what's up, Tiffany? I saw you come in. Hope you're doing well. Um, but let me ask you, Julio,
Yo.
when you were knee deep in the restaurant business, did you imagine a time when you'd be traveling around the country or traveling around the world just because your wife happens to be there?
Uh, yes, because I had experienced that 4 years prior, between 2012 and 2017. I was just traveling.
Uh-huh.
I had my business in Miami, DC, and New York. I was running the teams in all three. So I was just traveling. I had built great teams. That's my specialty, building teams. And then
Yeah.
17, reality came. Contracts went away. I had to get back into the restaurant and it was cool. But once I got into the shop between 2017 and 2023, I never left.
Yeah.
I had to ask myself for permission to leave. This It was so bad that I had to bribe an employee one time. I was like, "You don't need to go to college. Don't worry about it. I'll pay you an extra week on that week so that I could go to somebody's wedding." I forget whose wedding it was, but I paid the I said, "Don't go to college. You don't need college for this week. Pay you an extra an extra week on top of your salary," and she was happy. But yeah,
Yeah. But it's interesting. I should say, yeah, well, I will use the word interesting because I'm on a secret mission to take back the meaning of the word interesting because
ah,
people use it as a negative, like a super duper negative. And so I would rather use intriguing in those circumstances, but it's interesting to look at your face when I ask you the question and to see that slow smile wash over you because how did that make you feel? Like from that time when you first experienced it 4 years ago, how did that make you feel? Did you feel like I could get used to this,
yeah, absolutely,
right?
yeah.
Because it makes you feel like you've gotten a piece of something,
It's almost better not
right?
to. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you feel like you've gotten a little sample of something. And I turned that into almost like a mantra, a way of life, right? So me and my wife, we do this thing every now and then where we dream, right? And we do it because one of the things I learned in one of my favorite books, John Maxwell's The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, the law of the lid, raising your lid. um, I turned that coupled with the concept we're just talking about, and we turned it into a mantra. Every so often, we would do something crazy, right? Or seemingly crazy. We would go to open houses for houses that we knew we couldn't afford, but we would go to open houses and imagine what it would be like. Imagine what it would be like to live in a house like that. Or when we would be driving somewhere, we would be going to different neighborhoods, right? Neighborhoods that we weren't living in at the time, and we would literally ask God, like, what would it be like to be doing living here, right? And just dreaming, right? But when we started doing things like test driving certain cars, right? Like I remember when we were looking for an SUV because we had a growing family. It wasn't just me and her anymore. We asked God for an SUV, right? And it was a mid-sized SUV. So what we did, as we do all the time, is we went out and we test drove SUVs. And we were like, wow, this kind of cool. And she didn't drive at the time, but just being able to sit in the front seat because the sales rep was like, why don't we have the missus sit up front? And he put her up front, and we were sitting in the car, stuff like that, and we were driving. And in that moment, I started to let it in. Like, this is what it could be like for us to have what it is we're asking God for. And what that it's literally doing real time is conditioning our minds in that expectation, right? And having that was like a little seed planted in our minds that this is what we're going after. And like I was saying with Julio, is that you could just feel that. Like, man, I could get used to that. I could get used to this. And today, not only am I having a 7 row seater, right? Thank you, Jesus, but I am also glad to substantiate that Julio travels all around where his wife goes for her business, right? And he is officially a jet setter. He might not know that, not because he's not yet been to Fiji or Bora Bora, just because means he's not a jet setter. See, we disqualify certain experiences as what they really are. Like for a very long time, I didn't see myself as a coach. Yeah, I had been mentoring people. I had been showing people exactly what they needed to do in whatever space because like Julio, I was in car sales for a time. I was in direct sales for a time. I was building teams for a time. I built teams for almost 15 years, right? Off and on for 15 years, right? So in that where you're working with people, you're mentoring people, but I didn't see myself as a coach. I didn't see myself as a mentor. I didn't see myself as a motivational speaker. But whenever I spoke, and this is because of God and God alone, when I spoke, people stopped. People stopped what they were doing and they listened, right? I was at church 2 weeks ago, I think, and we're going through this thing called Journey of Faith, where it's like a discipleship type deal, where they're teaching you not just growing in your faith and growing in your belief in God and growing in how you understand God's word, but they're also training you to be a mentor in the faith, right? Training you to be a person that helps guide people along their journey of faith, right? And it's like the first day. We've been excited for months. And I was just like, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to sitting down, seeing what this is like. So, what they do is they split off into these little groups, right? And I came into the situation as God had taught me to do over the last, what, 5 or 7 years, going to the situation, being ready to be poured into because this is what I spend my work day doing. This is what I spend my life's work doing. I'm pouring into people. But he told me, yeah, I need you to sit there and I need you to be poured into because you can't mentor people from an empty cup, right? So I sat there. There was a bunch of guys sitting in a circle and we were talking and introducing ourselves and talking about things that were discussed in the little nugget of a message in that class. And then we were sitting there just discussing things. And when it came to me and I started talking, after like 4 seconds, everybody stopped. While everybody was talking, everybody else was talking, people would look off into the distance, and I would practice, looking people in the eye. Everything they taught me in sales, like you look people in the eye when they're speaking, so you're listening when they're talking, right? Julio, you remember all those things they tell you? Like listen to what they're saying so you could use it when you open your mouth, right? All those things, I'm doing that. And but when everybody else was talking, other people were looking up, checking on their wives, checking on their brother or sister, whatever it is. And when I was talking, after 4 seconds, people just stopped. And they were locked, like I'm talking locked in. And I was reminded that the thing that I didn't know that I was, that I didn't think I was, but I was actively doing it, right? That's how it's God really molding us into the role he called us for, right? So you already are the thing that you're seeking to be in ways that you don't realize it yet. And what we have to do is we have to create from that standpoint, right? I know the world calls that manifestation, right? But the Bible says, such as a man thinks, so is he, right? This is why he says speak life, right? Life and death is in the power of the tongue. If you speak the I'm not a tech person, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not I won't be able to get that, I won't be able to do that. You won't, because you've already decided when you said I am. Do you okay, let's break this particular part down. Do you realize the word am is not a momentary word? You realize that? Am is past, present, and future, right? It spills into the past from I was into I am. I am speaks more directly into who you are, not just in this moment, but every moment to follow, right? He said, I like that. um, I'm sorry, let me read that. I want to read that because people might be like, what is he laughing at? Julio says, like Popeye says, is I am. Yeah, he does say I am. I am what I am,
Is
right?
what I am, and I am
I
what is.
I am. Oh yeah, that's what it is. I love that. I used to love that show as a kid. But like I said, the idea is that the word I am doesn't just have power over the now. The word I am is given power over the present and the future. So whatever follows the word I am better be something that you want to not just see now, but continue seeing, right? Julio, you're so funny. He's going like this, right? I am a person with a full head of hair, right? You called out my face, my friend. But that's what I'm saying. When you approach your content, when you approach your audience, when you approach your business, approach it like the person you want to be, right? We may not be guiding the people that glean from us, that get mentoring from us, get training from us. You might not be guiding your audience to the goal that you are hoping for, you are striving toward, because you're guiding people to where you are. But you, in your own mind, in your own self, in your own heart, you have to believe in the person God created you to be, as though you are, right? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, but the evidence of things not seen, right? Faith is acting like what God says is true, right? You have to see yourself as the person. that is making 30 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand a month. You have to see yourself as the person that's able to travel the world, impacting lives real time, kneecap to kneecap or computer screen to computer screen, changing lives, helping people solve problems. You have to be the person. You have to see yourself as that person that goes out there and brings the presence of God to the masses that need you. You have to see yourself as the world changer that God put in you to be. Because He may not have called you to be a preacher. He may not have called you to be a pastor. He may not have called you to be a missionary, but you are those things in your own house and in your own neighborhood, right? The Bible says that you show that you are my disciples by what? By the love that you show, right? But you have to learn to be, all of us have to learn to be as though it already is. And I know that, we're getting a little personal today, but I remember, I remember, me and my wife have been friends a long time, long, long, long time. I met her in 2007. We didn't get married till 2015, so it'd be about another 7 years, right? Or 8 years before we get married, right? From the time that I met her. But I remember one night we had been at church or whatever we were doing. We were hanging out with friends, and I took her to a friend's house because she was babysitting at the time. And what the kid wasn't a baby, she was a little more, she's like a preteen, right? Drop her off at her house, and we're sitting in the driveway. And she could always see stuff in me that most people wouldn't see, right? And wasn't in a relationship at the time, and was really thinking about it. For whatever reason, she picked up on it. Excuse me, I can't even remember if we were talking directly about that. I think we might have been, but she said this to me that still sticks with me to this day, right? She said to me, "You have to prepare like your wife is here now," right? You have to prepare yourself like your wife is here now. And he said, "Congratulations." Oh, thank you. You said your anniversary. Oh, that's for Julio. Sorry. I said thank you. Oh, I just saw it pop up there. Congratulations. Wow. That's awesome. You celebrating your anniversary in October? That's awesome, man. Ours is in why am I struggling with this? I should not be struggling with this. I'm alone here, so I'm good. In April, right? In April. Our anniversary is in April. So she said to me in that moment, prepare like your wife is already here. Who would you be? What would you do? How would you get ready for that season of your life? What she didn't know, it was her in that moment. She didn't know she was talking about her, right? If I One of these days I will tell you guys, and if she feels like doing it, she feels up to it, she'll come with me to tell you guys about our story. It's very, 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 very paradoxical, right? Because there's so many things in our story that God used in miraculous ways to bring this to life, to bring our relationship to life. But that was one of them, because the things that she would tell me in that season of my life, she didn't realize she was talking about her. I knew because God had already showed me, right? By the time I met her in 2007, the first time I met her, God told me to go introduce myself. Like when I saw her, God told me to introduce myself, right? And at first I was like, okay, so do what now? Right? And so by the time that we got to that moment sitting in the car in the driveway, when she spoke those words, I began to really think, okay, what will I do? But not just what will I do, but who will I be when I'm married to this woman? What kind of person do I have to be every day? right? What will that person do? What would that version of me do every day? And in my business, I took that mindset, right? And Justin reminded me of that years later when I met him. He said, "Are you trying to be a marketer? Are you trying to be a business owner? Or is that who you are today? Are you a marketer or aren't you? Is that what you do or is that not what you do?" And then he said to me, he said, "Listen, who would that version of Nicholas be? Who would he be? How would he act? How would he live? How would he speak? Everything." Because another mentor, like I always talk about, my mentor said to me, "How you do anything is how you do everything," right? So knowing how you will be, how that person will be, you have to understand that tapping into those gifts, tapping into those skills, you have to tap into those by being what God says you are. Because God knows you. God knows who you are. He knows why He created you. He knows the plan that He has for you, a plan to prosper you, and He has an expected end, right? And you have to know that that ending is good. But if you don't believe that, and watch the reverse of that scripture. If you don't believe that the end that He has for you is good, how much of your life does that now affect? It affects who you are as a spouse. It affects who you are as a parent. It affects who you are as a coworker, as a colleague. It affects your business. Why? Because you don't believe that the plan God has for you is inherently good. And I understand that people grow up on the other side of the tracks where they were constantly told they were a failure. They constantly told they were stupid. They constantly told that they would never amount to anything. But those are just the words of another human being. Yes, life and death is in the power of the tongue, but you have the power to speak death to people's words that do not align with God's word for you. You are the head and not the tail. You are the lender and not the borrower. You are a conqueror through Christ. These are the things that God said, the one who designed you, the one who orchestrated you, the one who set you on the path. He put you here. You didn't put yourself here, and your mother and your daddy did not put you here. God put you there. They are just stewards of who you are. Auntie, uncle, grandma, grandpa, whoever it is, their words can be rendered powerless by what you believe. Everything is affected if you don't believe God's plan is inherently good for you. Everything can be affected if you don't believe that you were created to be impactful. You were created to be purposeful. You were created to walk in definite steps. The Bible says the steps of a righteous man are ordered by Him. Ordered. As in now, step here. Now, step here. Now, step here. But here's the thing about that little moment before you get the instruction to step. Do you know where to step? Not always. You don't always know what the next step is. But can I submit to you, that's not your job. Your job is not to know your next step. Your job is to know that you can trust the one who does. You can trust the one who has a plan before you were even born into this world. He had a plan and he already wrote it out from the very first letter to the very last full stop in your story. He knew what it is. And all our job is to do is to trust the one who designs us, trust the one who created us, and approach our business like he said you are. We all have to approach our business like that because if we Don't approach our business like that. It don't matter the AI twin you use. It don't matter the funnel system that you use. It don't matter the hack. It don't matter the hashtag. It don't matter the keyword that you use. It don't matter the trending sound that you use. If you don't believe in who God says you are, you don't use none of them, because all of them will already seem flawed, because you believe you are flawed beyond repair. You believe that your purpose is not to be the impactful kingdom funder. You don't believe that you can be valuable enough to become the hunted in business. You don't believe that you are the one that will change lives in this world to help you become the person that God intends you to be. So if you don't first get that square, you will never be able to pick up a tool that you see on the For You page. Forget Canva, forget Amazon KDP, forget every automation system, forget every AI system, forget every generator, forget every script writer. If you don't believe in what you're doing, if you don't believe in the power to make a difference, if you don't believe in your God given purpose, it will be reflected in every tool you use. Every tool. This is why I took it to heart so much. And I challenge every one of you, whether you're live here today or you're watching the replay, go back into the classroom, go into the Hall of Champions and watch the hammer training, right? Watch the hammer training, right? It's the Hammer 2.0, right? Watch that training. The training simply talks about the fact that it's not about the tool. Isn't that what Justin is teaching you guys in the app, Julio? It's not about the tool. It's not about the system. It's not about the automations. It's not about the training. It's about you. A sword is just a piece of metal without the wielder. Thor's hammer is just a hammer without the wielder, right? The only weapon, the only tangible, the only spiritual weapon that is every bit as mighty with or without a user is the Bible. That's the only thing. But guess what? If you don't do anything, you don't get to use the power. If you don't pick up God's word and see who he says you are and what he says about your life, if you don't learn what promises are in there, what guarantees there are in the body of Christ, you will never be able to use that power, because as powerful as that book is without a user, without a wielder, as powerful as it is, if you don't do anything with it, if you don't even open it any time in your life, you will always lack the power and conviction that you see. But it's always about us. It's always about what we believe, about what God put us here to do. So, my question is, what has God put you here to do? And what do you believe about that mission? What do you believe about your ability to accomplish that mission? Or do you see that? And that's the thing. I see myself accomplishing that mission. I see myself fully realizing that mission. I don't know how, but it ain't my business to know how. It is just my business to know that. It is just my business to know that I am a coach. It is just my business to know that I am a mentor. It is just my business to know that I make a difference in this world for Christ. It just means that I know that I will be wealthy beyond measure, and my bread baskets will always be filled, and my kneading bowl will always have, and my wine press will always have oil. Why? Because of the fact that this is what God says about my life. And because I know these things, because I believe what God says is true, I approach my business like that. I approach my life like that. I approach my friendships like that. It changes how you speak. It changes how you show up on camera. It changes how you perceive the outcome. It changes the perception of the value that you get when you're sitting in front of someone and you're listening to them speak. You learn to see the value. When you're on the For You page, you learn to sift through the superficial. You learn to sift through the wafers. You learn to sift through the empty calories, and you get the nuggets that God intends you to have. Why? Because you understand what God created you to be. So you leverage the Holy Spirit that works in you so you can hear and you can see what God intends for you to see in that. I mean, are y'all tracking? Right?
Yes.
Who do we intend to be? Any comments? Go ahead if you have something you want to say.
The same person I've always been. The guy that took the dishwasher when it came back the restaurant, the dishwasher, he was wow, what a wasted resource. And made him into the operations manager 2 years later. I walked away, he stayed in the operations. Building people up is what I do. I
Yeah,
just couldn't figure out how to do with this little green light.
but and that's the thing, Julio. That's the thing. I'm glad you said that. You know, it makes me think of Grant Cardone, right? I don't know if you've seen the series Undercover Billionaire, right? But if you had, I don't know, is it Discovery? I think it's the Discovery app, right? I think it's Discovery app where I'll text it to you because I got your number. I'll text it to you, um, so you can watch that episode with him. But everybody knows Grant Cardone for being this influential, no nonsense, kind of shoot from the hip kind of entrepreneur, wildly successful in real estate, wildly charismatic, and all that kind of stuff, right? The Jets, the 10X Growth Conference, all these things Grant Cardone is known for, right? Grant Cardone is known for all those things. But when he was asked, hold on one second, give me 1 second. I apologize. 1 second. Uh, see. All right. Sorry, guys. I had to send something really quick. All right. So everybody knows Grant Cardone to be this wildly charismatic, wildly successful billionaire, right? But when the history, I think it was the History Channel with Discovery, when they asked him to do the show, initially he refused, right? Guys, give me 1 quick second. My wife says something's going on. Give me 1 second.
How's it going, Tiff?
Good, how are you?
Look at you, tan linda. I have a question for you. So, Kingdom Funders, what is big goal and smaller goal that the Kingdom funders want to fund?
Um, Big goal is funding ministry vision. Like so, initially I started it because I wanted to help my mom. So the big goal for me with wanting to help her is she's in the process of kind of like preparing and buying land and storing up food. I don't know if you know the story of Joseph in the Bible.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of what the Lord has her doing and called her to do, but she's been struggling, financially. So big goal is me being able to give her enough to do all of that, to stock up and to store up for the people that the Lord has already showed her that she's gonna have to help,
That's amazing.
when
You
that
know
time
someone
comes.
struggling?
Yeah,
So it's perfect.
yeah.
She's right on the mark.
hmm And
Nice.
then short goal, I guess would be just for her not to struggle with just day-to-day stuff, like personal needs and things that, you know, that she needs for herself and for the ministry.
Very cool. Is it
Yeah.
a big ministry?
No, it's a very small church. Yeah.
Nice.
She's actually my pastor. And so
That.
it's a small, but she's been pastoring for over like 20 years now. Like
Very
since the
nice.
Lord called her to preach, yeah.
Very
So
nice. Just the other day, I was looking for my Bible, which I cannot find. Uh, 2018, I think,
mm,
or 16. Friend of mine gave me a Bible, extremely big Bible, with historical context for every single page,
oh wow.
where it was written, who written, what was happening in the history, and I
hmm
loved it because it was like a textbook and the Bible, and then it would go in depth into the passages. And when we moved, I put it somewhere and I cannot find it.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds cool. What was it called? Do you know what the name of it was? Like,
the Bible.
oh, is this
No,
just
no, I don't know.
oh,
I think it
okay.
had a bigger name. It's in the box, but I gotta go find. I gotta go to the storage. It's dreading because I'm sure it's in the box. It's in the back of the spot.
Yeah.
But I loved it because it'll before The Chosen, right? Before this amazing production,
hmm
which gives you context
hmm
versus just people telling you do this, do that, do this, do that.
Right, right.
Nice context. I was using that, and that was pretty cool because it would tell you who crossed where, who, when he wrote the letters, who took the letters. When Paul was writing all these letters, who was the mail?
hmm
So it
hmm
went into all that, all the historical effect stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked watching The Chosen too. It really did a good job of bringing like the scriptures to life. Like,
Right?
you know,
Easy. Of course, it's historical fiction, but it was well done.
yeah, they did a good job. Did you watch the other? I can't think of the name of the other series they had on Prime, where it was
The David?
About Saul and David.
Not yet.
That one's really good. You need to watch that one.
Okay.
It was really good. I can't think of the name of it. Was it called?
David?
Is that what it's called? That
Yeah,
may have been what it's called. Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I gotta watch that one. Yeah, more.
But I think they only had like one. I think they only had one
Was
season, so hopefully they'll.
nice.
But they
But
did a good job of
see,
bringing that one to life too.
in The Chosen, we've all heard, the gospel, but no one talks about season 6, right?
hmm
Like we go to Easter Sunday and past the resurrection. It's like show's over. Let's go back to the beginning.
hmm
And we're like, no, 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 no. We need to figure out what happened after. Like,
Yeah, I never even finished The Chosen. I think I might be like 2 seasons behind. I think I may have watched like three. So they have six. Was it 6 seasons?
they're season 5. They're gonna do they're gonna do 7 seasons. Season 5 ends on Holy Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Because
I
next
think I might be
season,
on three.
yeah, next season will be the weekend, Easter weekend.
Okay.
And then the one after that will be completely about the apostles,
Oh, okay.
about their missionary work, which is what I want to get into. Like, yeah, Jesus is the foundation, cool, but without these guys, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
These guys work.
Have you heard of Bible Study Fellowship?
No,
BSF. So bsfinternational.org. So it's an international organization. So look that up. But it's basically a fourfold approach to studying the Bible. Like you get to study the Bible in community. They have it for men, women, children. But they do a good because it's not like going to your regular church service. Normally you go to Bible study and you sit and you just listen to the preacher preach. It's kind of like an extension of another Sunday service. But with BSF, I love that you actually get to learn more in depth about the Bible because it's a fourfold approach. So the first part is you're gonna have a homework assignment, read a certain passage, and then you have to answer questions. And then the second thing is you go and you meet up with your group. So for you, it'd be like a group of men. You go meet up and then y'all answer those questions and discuss it together. And then the third part is you listen to like a 30-minute lecture where they discuss what you already read. So it's four parts to you going over that same text that you have for that week. And so they give you the commentary, they give you the history behind it, they go in depth. But if you're wanting to be like eventually be a missionary and stuff, it's a great way to kind of build that foundation and just learning more and more about the Bible. Plus, it holds you accountable to like studying your word because you got to you got to answer your questions, do your part, and then you get to go and meet up with your group and like study with them. But so they have it everywhere, and you can do it either online or in person. You just put your zip code in and see where there's a local meetup next to you. Hold on, let me take this call.
Oh, neat. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, sorry about that, guys. We had
I'm back.
a bit of a situation. But it just means I have to cut things a bit short. Um, so, but everything will be fine. It's not anything life threatening or anything like that. So don't worry. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, Grant Cardone. So one of the things that happened with him is because he could not have any connections to his contacts. He couldn't leverage his team. They even had him cut all his hair off, right? Cut all his hair off. And he has a scar on some part of his head. So obviously there's gonna be some kind of what is the word again? What is the word? It's like the uncomfortableness for some sort of people
Insecurity?
seeing an insecurity. There you go. Sorry, the brain, right? But he had insecurities about that. But they put glasses on him, took everything away from him, gave him $100 and told him he had to create $1 million business, $1 million valuated business in 90 days. And he really struggled with that. And when I tell you he really struggled with that, he really, really struggled with that. And it's not the making money thing, because when he realized to snap to, he started working things out and he started making moves. But the biggest thing that he struggled with was being separated from being Grant Cardone. right? And everything that came with. Because he was sick, he couldn't be Grant Cardone anymore. They even gave him a different name because immediately money movers and money havers, when they hear the name Grant Cardone, you hear security, right? You hear profits because of the name Grant Cardone. So they gave him a new name, right? And he couldn't leverage any of it. And he really, really, really had a hard time with it. And when you watch that show, when you watch the series, you'll see what I mean, right? And it was around COVID time. So, the show ended up getting shut down for a little bit, and then they came back to finish the episode. But the biggest thing for him was he doubted that he was Grant Cardone, right? He doubted that he could be that guy in as a new person. He doubted that he could be that guy. It's like being put into a new body, but you have all the knowledge that you did from your from your previous life, right? And he couldn't tap into that because he forgot everything he learned. He forgot all the strides that he made. He forgot how, because it was all clouded and shrouded by his insecurity about how he looked, his insecurity about not having the team, not having the connections, not having the 10X name, not having the Grant Cardone name, the Grant Cardone brand behind him. Because let's be honest, it's a little bit easier to do certain deals because you hear the name Grant Cardone. If you realize you're a real estate developer and you hear that you have Grant Cardone sitting in your conference room, immediately you get excited. Immediately you start to open up and hear certain things about him. But when you hear Joe Schmoes in your conference room, Johnny come lately in your conference room, you're not as excited. And he had to enter situations like that, not as Grant Cardone, but as whoever they gave him the name as, right? But the first thing that he did in that episode was indicative of what Grant Cardone would do. Because again, he is Grant Cardone, right? The $100, instead of spending the $100, right? And they gave him a truck, right? I think it's an Avalanche or something, right? They gave him a truck. And while other people used it to get around whatever city they put them in, he sold it. Immediately within the first week, he sold it. Why? To get capital. And he convinced the owner of an RV park to let him stay there. I think it was like 2 weeks. I'm like, who does that? You literally go to a random business owner in an RV park and successfully convinces him to let you stay there. No name, no nothing, right? But he stayed there for 2 weeks, I think it is, and ends up through all that. He builds a $5 million valuated business. So he didn't just do it once, he did it 5 times over because he tapped into who he knew he is. But losing sight of that is what made a major difference in why he struggled in the beginning. And this is why we struggle. This is why we have a hard time because we don't think that we can be that person. We don't think that we are that person, right? Like I said, like I keep saying, it's not your business to know everything about what you're about to do. You just know that you've done it, right? Just know that and go into your interactions in business, go into your building an audience, go into, excuse me, your marketing strategy, knowing that you are planting a seed and that you are watering it based on you know that you have accomplished the life that God has put you in simply because that's what he said, right? That's what he said, right? You may not have the balance reflected in your bank account, but you have a solution. And you have a solution that can be duplicated over and over and over and over again because you are a digital business owner. It would be one thing to have this. You come up with this AirPod, right? Let's say this another thing, just a pair of headphones, right? But you have this product, right? Again, not AirPod or Apple specifically. You have a product that you can sell to the masses. You don't just say, hey, I have this thing, and you sell this thing because this thing will help you listen to whatever it is you need to listen to, and you can listen to it without a cord. No, you talk about the ease that you get because you have that. And you speak when you talk about the ease that you get and the excitement that you feel and the interactivity and the cool features that it has. Talk about what that does for you, but talk about that in a way that you sound confident, that you sound like you have conviction. Why? Because this is what it calls for, because that's what people latch onto. People latch on to your belief. You ever heard people say, borrow my belief? This is what you're getting people to do. Not to try to do, but to do. To borrow your belief in the thing that changed your life. And I don't care what it is. It could be Shopify, it could be Amazon KDP, it could be Amazon influencer, it could be a TikTok shop sale, a business, whatever it is. It could be a restaurant business, it could be whatever it is. You have to know that doing that, being that, working through that, learning that has changed your life in this way, and you tell people about that life change. You tell people about that transformation in a way that you know that it's purposeful and you are trying to give somebody the same transformation you got, and you can duplicate that product, business, or service. Unlike this physical product, because you're a digital business owner, you can duplicate it over and over and over again, unlimited times. You can sell that thing, but you're not just selling the thing, you can duplicate unlimitedly. You're selling people on the change that it brought you. But see, some of us, we haven't had that change yet. And the change I'm talking about has nothing to do with money. Nothing to do with money. I was talking about this on my live stream earlier, not earlier today, but yesterday. It doesn't matter if you didn't make a sale yet. It doesn't matter if you haven't made a sale in 9 months. It doesn't make a difference whether you haven't made a sale in a year and a half. It does not matter if it's day one for you. What matters is that you were lost. You were lost, frustrated, you were struggling, you were failing at what you were doing, and you realized you needed a path out, and you found the path out. You found the plan. You found the solution, and you're learning that solution. You are learning that plan. You are learning how to execute. And what that means is you are no longer lost. You are no longer hopelessly confused. You are no longer hopelessly depressed because you have been in one situation where you were and you have moved forward. Guess what you're supposed to do now? Go back to in your journey where you were lost, where you were confused, where you were struggling to find the solution, and tell those who are there that you are no longer there, but you are now here. And because you are now here, I am here to help you get where I am. And as you move forward, as you learn, as you grow, as you improve, you help pull those people forward. And you help pull those people forward as you grow, as you learn, as you do, and then you will accomplish the goal. The transformation does not happen before the money. I'm sorry, the money does not happen before the transformation. The transformation happens first, and then you showcase that transformation, and then the money happens. Too many of us on the For You page want to be able to tell somebody the Legacy Builder is this awesome program. It has these awesome modules, these awesome Zoom calls and Zoom sessions. And this is why you should buy it, because it's a high ticket item. It's $900 a sale. That doesn't matter to people. That does not matter to people. What matters to people is what can they do? And even more so, what can they do will lead you to showcase rented houses, rented cars, and to get stacks of money from the ATM that ain't yours, no way. That's not where you want to be. What does $900 sale, or $900 a sale, what will that do for you? What is that doing for you? Or when you get that, what will it allow you to do? What are you looking forward for it to allow you to do? That's what it is. And when going back to Julio's content about lifestyle, like we were talking about before the recording, these are the things, the freedom that you have. You're not saying you have $5 million, you're not saying you have $10 million in the bank, but what you are saying is that I can be on vacation while my wife is doing what she's doing in her business, and I get to be with her, to hang out with her wherever on the earth that she is, and I don't have to worry about being at the restaurant. I don't have to worry about building a team. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Why? Because I have a business that's running for me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, showing people where I was, where I'm not anymore, and showing people where I am today. And because I'm able to do that, creating short pieces of content that shows people the transformation that I've gotten, they can get that transformation, the very same one. They can get that transformation whether it's 4 p.m. in the afternoon or 4 a.m. in the morning. And I can have income before I have eggs. If you want to learn how I'm doing that, put ready in the comments. I would love to show you how. These are the things. But guys, y'all can't forget the fundamentals. You can't forget the fundamentals, right? And this is not to blast you, brother. This is the truth and love, my friend. This is what I will tell you. Always put text on screen, letting people know what you're talking about, because you have 2 seconds, 2 seconds to tell people what it is you're talking about and how it's going to help them in that title over your head. If you don't have none, if you don't have that text on screen hook, that's right, Tiffany, that's a hook. If you don't have your verbal hook and your text on screen hook, and not to mention your subliminal hook, right? And you had that because you were sitting in a different place, right? It's sitting in a different place, sitting in a different way than they're used to you being, right? That's your subliminal hook, but you still have to have the title over your head, letting people know what transformation are you bringing to them? What are you talking about? They have to know what you're talking about before you start talking about it. And let that be the very first thing you have coming out of your mouth. You have great content, my friend, especially within the last couple of days, last few weeks. You have a lot of great content that fits very well into the lifestyle industry. It fits very well into motivation. It feels very, very well into inspiration, right? And you're showcasing a product that's winning for you, because you're able to do that. You're able to live that lifestyle because you're learning the process you need to, and you have a business that's running for you, right? All those things you're absolutely winning at, but you have to let people, the untrained, know that you have to assume that when you create that video, somebody brand new who's never seen your videos before are watching it now. You always have to assume that. You always have to assume that they don't know the industry terms. They don't know what a funnel is. They don't know what automations are. They don't know what an AI twin is. They don't know what having modules and mentoring and school and all this. They don't know what all that stuff is. So break it down for them as if they were 5 years old and they were watching it for the very first time. Because let me tell you something, when people are trying to escape their very real, very depressing lives, they turn into a 5-year-old mentally. You hear me? Assume that the person watching is watching for the first time,
Absolutely.
right? Because when they turn off, because they want to relax and they want to get over and they want to decompress and they want to all that stuff, live vicariously through the content they're watching, they're doom scrolling, you are going to stop them because you are being sending a clear message, having a title over your head, having captions in your content, and having that first line of your description. You are telling them who you are, what you do, and how it will help the person watching right then. You got to do that in every video. Every video, doesn't matter what it is. Even if it's something you're just sharing your mind, sharing your heart, whatever it is. The only way I can say that would be allowed is that if you're just doing a story, right? You're just doing a story post, those people have already watched you. Those people that you may have some brand new faces in there, but still, you still want to let people know by at the very minimum in your stories, having captions in your stories. Every single one have captions, if nothing else, in your stories. But if it's a video that goes on your feed, doesn't matter whatever social media platform you're talking about, if it is that what it is, you have to let people know the general premise of what you're talking about so they will know what to expect. Because there will be somebody in that time that your video is up there in the first 24 hours that is looking for what you have. Make sense?
Yep.
Awesome. So, questions, because I got like 2 more minutes here. Any questions that you guys have? No? Comments
Tiffany's
on a call? Probably.
yeah. Stepping into your person. I always now with the chat, I had to tell somebody, I had to tell Lisa to stop this. She was I don't know where she got some prompts and she was trying to read words with too many syllables. And I was like, Lisa, this is not you. Like, I don't care how, right? So just because again, go back to the worthiness. People think they gotta sound smart, they gotta sound something. But and here's the other problem. Lisa did not look at her program. She's just like she bought it. Somebody told her she could sell it. She's doing that. She's
Yeah,
hasn't dove in and figured out how to actually make what this actually is.
yeah. I would say 65% of people that when you're talking about the legacy builder, right?
Yeah.
I would say 65% of people that sell legacy builder haven't even cracked it.
But she also has SWC and she hasn't even opened that. She
Yeah,
should
they
sell it.
they yeah, no, they just buy it and turn around. It's like buying a property and turning around and just selling it.
Yeah, never looked at the plumbing, nothing. But I gotta tell you, tonight I have my first meeting with the 7 people that I sold the program to.
Uh-huh.
I did it on systems because before school had the affiliate program, I started to build it on systems, my course.
Oh, okay.
It's just about PLRs and things like that. And I'm
Right.
really excited. It'll be my first Zoom that I'm holding with them. So yeah,
Nice. Let's
yeah.
go.
So since then, after Justin's training, I'm hopping on and doing that Zoom with them. And I'm super excited, change some lives. And then now Legacy is about to drop in Spanish in September. So
Uh-huh.
it's gonna wreck
Oh
the
yeah.
world
Oh man,
again.
I've been on I've been on the
So
loop for a minute.
I was doing this in lieu of Legacy not having it in Spanish. And
Right.
it's a lot of freaking work. So now that now I'm gonna do something complementary to whatever they drop.
Right.
So people might uneducated people might talk bad about the Legacy program. because they didn't really pay attention or even look
Right.
at it. But this
Right.
thing is like the creators really put a lot of thought into it. There's a gold mine in there,
Yeah,
and
it is.
it shook the industry last time. It made a bunch of programs go out of business. It's
Yeah.
about to reshape it again. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
But I say that every single time. Listen, even though I may not actively promote the Legacy Builder anymore,
You're part of it.
like on a regular basis, I will still maintain that it still has a mountain of value in there, right?
Absolutely.
It still has a mountain of value in there. But you just like we said about the Word of God, if you never open it up, if you never crack it open, you can never really see. But therefore, you'll have nothing really to say other than it makes money,
Right.
right? So yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
So I'm excited. I'm excited. So all these hurdles that I've gone through in the last, I don't know, September to now, 10
Hmm.
months. Um, I'm excited. And I know that every green person is going to go through the same exact hurdles, not being enough, not looking at the camera, not wanting that instant gratification and validation, blah, blah, blah. So I'm looking forward to
That's
working
what.
with people, getting them at
That's
least to where I'm at from when
Yeah,
they're,
exactly. That's why you bring them here.
yeah,
That's why you
yeah.
bring them here.
Congratulations, Julio.
Yes.
I
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
know.
you.
Awesome.
It's going to be
So
fun.
let's do this really quickly. Takeaways for today. What's your number one takeaway for today? See if you
Takeaway.
can go first.
What you say after I am, that'll be something you want to live.
Hmm.
And tap into basically who God says that I am in order to minimize the struggle. Because if you don't believe, that you are who he says you are, then it's going to show up in everything that you do.
Definitely, definitely. Uh, Julio, real quick, give me like 25 seconds.
That, um, regardless of like with what Tiffany just said, when you say I am, when you say and believe whatever you put out to the world as after I am, you are that. And if in my case, speaking for myself, when your identity has has been, what do you call it, melted in and melted into, like, whether it's you were married or you had a career or you had a business or you were this, you were that, you were Mr.
Hmm.
Somebody, and now you're making a change and no one else can see your drive, your desires. That hurts because you're
Yeah,
always accustomed to getting that validation for your efforts from things you did in the past, and because no one sees you as what this thing that you believe you're going to be, a marketer, a dancer, or a singer, whatever, uh,
right.
it messes with your confidence. So I'd say if you believe it, trust in God. He gave you those talents for a reason, and that calling. None of this is any one of us making up the light bulb, right? Even the guy making up the light,
Yeah,
God told him, make the light bulb and spend 10,000 times learning how not to do it until you finally do it. So we
exactly.
all have a calling to answer, and
Yeah,
don't let somebody else's opinion or judgment. And who cares? You know how much I care about other people's opinions? This much. When I am making
exactly.
coffee at 10 in the morning, they're driving to work in the Palmetto, and it is bumper to bumper.
I know. Oh gosh.
So I no longer, I did in the beginning, but those same
Yeah,
people who would say, oh, you can never do that, you're not a dancer, whatever, a TikTok person, they're still driving to work hating their life.
exactly.
I'm not.
And this is the segue that I want you guys to use when you post that in your stories today. While you figure out what that is, you get to have a business that is already pre-built, already pre-designed for you. So while you figure that out, you can still be able to have something that you can use to bring to Main Street that can make you an income. All right. If you want to know about that, put ready, put yes, put the hunted, whatever the CTA you use, you put that in there. All right. So
Absolutely.
make sure and share those in your stories today if you'd like. You can tag me in them so I can see. And you can hashtag purpose driven mindset in your content when you're talking about this. So I hope you guys have found value today. I thank you guys for being here. I appreciate all the love and all the patience today. And I will have this up for you guys probably, if not today, tomorrow, because things are going on. So please give me a little grace so we can get that up for you guys in the academy. And continue to watch the Purpose Driven Marketer so you guys can follow along with the 14-day challenge. All right. If you have any questions, please let me know. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you on next Wednesday. All right.
All
Take
right,
care.
good.
Thanks.
Bye.
No problem.
Thank you, Tiff.
You're welcome.